Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News Show. I've got another in my deep dives into exploration for publicly traded companies. And before I get started with my featured company today, I wanted to talk a little bit about gold. This is a hot topic for me because I think we're in the early days of a quite spectacular trend that is all about gold, the gold standard, and the reason that that will happen is because of the death spiral of debt, with all these countries throughout the world drowning in debt and having fiat currencies that are constantly diluted and devaluing the purchasing power. And that all really started when the U.S. cut the last vestiges of the gold standard in 1971. They were the leader in debt growth for a lot of years, four and a half decades, 4 decades, and now the rooster is coming home, and I think we have to go back on a gold standard to put some discipline on the spending of the politicians and the Federal Reserve or the central bankers not to be the accomplice in the death spiral of debt, and ultimately to make it so that investors understand that gold is the soundest form of money, and it's a lot better than every fiat currency, and backed up by their debt and nothing else. And so, yeah, I think this is the long-term picture. But as you can see in this yearly chart here, gold's been on a great run. And I think this trend, the big picture trend I'm talking about, is in the very earliest of days. We're still in the morning of the first day, early morning, crack of dawn sort of thing. And so last couple of days were quite interesting because of the Federal Reserve cutting interest rates to by 0.5%. And you had a big move in the price of gold on that unexpected 0.5% move. And then it got down out during the press conference of the Fed, and he basically Powell talked about, oh, everything's fine, Goldilocks. It's a Goldilocks economy and a Goldilocks jobs market. And that cooled things for a while. But as you can see, within very short order of hours, gold had a stronger day today. Got to look at the US dollar because that has an impact as well. And you'll see sort of the opposite happen. Yesterday, when it went out, the US dollar got hammered when the announcement was made by the Fed, and then during the press conference it gained strength. But then look at it's been struggling at the end of the day here. It's gained a little bit, but the bigger trend for the US dollar is this trend right here. Look at that pummeling it's got as the Fed, before the Fed cut the interest rates. I think it's going down quite a bit lower, because I think the Fed is going to end up going back towards the free money era. And if you want to see what the free money era looked like, here's some of the free money lows. So I think we could see those lows again. Here's when the free money really started, was back here. And look at how pummeled the US dollar was back then, down to as low as 70, let's say 71 on the index. So I think gold has, or I mean, the US dollar has a lot lower to go, and the US and gold has a lot higher to go. But the essence of these shows that I've been doing lately is these deeper dives into individual companies, and I'm focusing on exploration. Why I love exploration so much is that, it's all about treasure hunting. You're using the drill rig to look for buried treasures, and I guess I'm a treasure hunter at heart, because that's what really excites me about the mining business. And it doesn't really matter how big or small a company is, from the largest down to the smallest. It's the drill rig has a very important role to play. Without exploration success, you don't have enough projects in development. Without enough projects in development, the miners don't have the ability to buy assets to replace what they mine. And so one of the things that the drill rig does is it enhances the quality of your project. It lengthens the mine life, and helps to do the replacement of the old mines with new mines. Now, another important reason for exploration is that, these companies, the pipeline is very, very tight. It's much tighter than even the gold price suggests. And we need a lot more exploration success. I think it's the most underappreciated, most maligned, and unloved part of the business, but it's the most exciting part of the business for me, because it's the treasure hunt that I love to be involved in. So today's company is McEwen Mining, and you can see there, they say, why invest in McEwen Mining on the homepage? Hard money and huge copper. Lately, the huge copper part of the story, of the company, has been what's sort of driving the stock price. But even when it comes to the copper project, now I originally picked McEwen Mining a couple of years ago because I thought they were a fantastic turnaround story. And back then, my big argument was on their copper project. I didn't think it was being recognized, and over the last couple of years, it's certainly been recognized. The stock was as low as $4 back then in Canadian terms, and recently has been as high as $16. What really led to the start of that turnaround was when Newton Ventures, which is a venture of Rio Tinto, put money into the company twice, and Stellantis, the fourth largest car maker in the world, also made a significant investment into McEwen Copper. McEwen Mining owns 48.2 and a royalty of about 1.2. So let's say 50% for argument's sake. And at the current valuation of McEwen Mining at about, let's see here, I'm just going to pull this up quickly and get McEwen Mining up. I'll give you the Canadian market value, which is, I think pretty much driven just by the copper. So, this kind of gives you a way to value the copper assets. So they have a $650 million valuation in Canadian terms. And so that means in Canadian terms, they've got McEwen Copper's worth about 1.2 billion. I would point out that recently BHP made a takeover offer of Filo for their Filo del Sol project for $4.5 billion. And Los Azules is a better project. Los Azules is bigger, it's higher grade, it's got a longer mine life, It's in the lowest cost quartile. And part of the reason that it's significantly different when it comes to the cost situation is because Filo del Sol and Jose Maria are way up in the Andes at about the elevation of the Mount Everest base camp. At that elevation, you got a lot of problems in building a mine and operating a mine, and just people working in a mine or walking around in a mine. That elevation is quite challenging, and so Los Azules is at a much lower elevation, and that's what makes the dynamics of their cost being in the lowest cost quartile of undeveloped copper mines so compelling. And so, really, I think that most of the valuation in McEwen Mining is all about the copper, and even the copper company, which you can extrapolate by looking at doubling the valuation of McEwen Mining to give it a valuation of about 1.3 million Canadian for what looks like one of the best new copper mines, undeveloped copper projects in the world. Argentina is going through a big change with Malay Magic, and he's got his arms open to copper mining in Argentina. And I think as far as looking at the difference between Filo del Sol and Jose Maria, and then comparing Los Azules it's easy to make the argument that it's a better project that will likely be in production much sooner than Filo del Sol and Jose Maria. But what I also want to talk about, so if you agree with my argument or recognize my argument that McEwen Mining is basically being valued for their interest in McEwen Copper, that means that the gold and silver mines are not getting very much love right now. Based on that argument, you'd be looking at a zero valuation. But I really want to talk about innovative people in the mining business, and Rob McEwen. And you can see in the video that I shared in a recent report about what they're doing to make Los Azules an exceptional new mine. But what was transformative for Goldcorp when Rob was running the company was that what was the transformation for them was through the drill rig. They drilled deeper into their Red Lake mine, and at about 1,000 meters, they hit the bonanza zone of an orogenic gold system, and the rest was history. The grades were off the charts. The costs were extremely low. It made them a free cash flow machine and one of the best performers amongst the gold miners during Rob's tenure running the company. And so Rob McEwen, who knows a lot about how important the drill rig is for transformation of gold projects. And this September 11th news release really stood out to me. And it made me think, well, are people even really understanding the exploration potential that they've got at their projects? And, I looked at this news release, 13.8 grams over 2.4 meters, 9.8 grams over 2.8 meters, some nice high grade material there. But here is what I really want, and here's some more Oh, those are cap grades too. I like your gram meters uncapped. But therefore, look at some of those intersections. Gold to 19.4, 11.8, 15.2, 13.6, 13.8, 30 grams. Some nice high grade material. So then here is where I get really excited when I start seeing geological maps and the exploration story. I've been really fortunate during my career that I've had some really talented geochemists, geophysicists, geologists mentor me in exploration, and so I look at things through the lens of those that have helped me to understand exploration. And so here you have part of the claim block that makes up the Fox complex. Black Fox up here from here, Whiskey Jack, Gibson, 147, GFS down here. All right. Now here's the Gray Fox geology map. So some of the things that I would point out here right away is you've got this shear zone right here. So this is the big thrust fault, that splay fault, another fault here. And these are potential conduits of how the gold bearing fluids make their way up to surface. But what blows me away about this project, so here you've got the historical Gibson ramp. Look at all these mineralized lenses. There's just massive amounts of mineralized lenses. When you have that many mineralized lenses, what it tells you is that there is a big, long lived, powerful gold mineralizing system that has pumped this over millions of years up into the cracks of the earth near the surface. And something really big, you need something really big to be and powerful to be getting so many lenses. I mean, just look, there's got to be 100 lenses here in an area that, okay, so here's the scale. This is a 300-meter scale. So in what, one, two, let's say five of those. So in a kilometer and a half, you've got all of these structures, or all of these mineralized zones. And the rock packages they're in are interesting. And I also point out that, look, this fault here could be a really important part of the whole story, but especially if you could understand which way it's dipping. My guess is it's dipping in this direction to the southwestish, and then look at all, and this mineralization is probably all related to that fault in some way. Okay, so then we're going to zoom down a little bit more. And here you have gold intercepts based on the gold grade and the true width. So this is the metal factor. This is your multiplying the grade by the length of the intersection. So here you have in yellow is 10 to 25 gram meters. Orange is 25 to 50, and purple is greater than 50. And look at all of these hits right around that old ramp. But then you got a hit right near that mineralized zone, sitting right on the mineralized zone and right beside it. That's another interesting thing. All these are what come to surface. You could have other ones that are blind; they don't even come to surface. So sorry, I got on a little tangent there. So you just look at the consistency of these, and they're all striking in the same direction. So this again gives you evidence that they're likely coming from the same source, deep, powerful source. Okay, so now gold mineralizing system. Now I'm going to go down here. And so here you get a tighter view of that, the ramp there. And you can see the grades in drill holes all around it. Really good stuff. But this is all really close to surface. You're looking at probably a couple 100 meters from surface. Now, this is the Gibson South zone. Again, you've got gold hits all over the place. Are they related to these, or are they from blind zones? I think that more drilling would be needed to answer that question. Okay, so not only do you have a bunch of surface mineralized zones that are all going in the same direction, now we're looking at a cross section. So now we're taking a slice, sort of cut a half a cake away, and you're looking at it from the side instead of the top of the cake. And look at how these surface mineralized zones are all striking in the same direction. Some of these look like they are, in fact, blind. And look at the drilling is only confined to the first 250 meters, because most of that drilling was done to try to get material for mining. All right, I'm looking at this more as an exploration story. But look at the gold mineralization here: 9.4 grams, 6.7, 5.2, 11.8, 10.6, 7.2, 5.7, 8.2, 4.9. All of this is very close to the surface. So you're looking at the distal portion as far away, the top of the system, as far away from the heat engine, the mineralizing source as you could get. And look at some of these, never even been touched with a drill hole. Down here, you're still getting gold in this system, but only a minimal amounts of drilling. I look at this and I go, wow, wow. I would love to see them start poking some holes down here and seeing, do these zones, do they pinch and swell? Do some of them come together at depth? My guess would be that as you drill deeper down here, you should start to see some of these coming together as you get closer to the heat engine. The way they're distributed, these stacked zones, suggests to me that, again, it's more evidence that it's all coming off the same source, the same heat engine, where the gold mineralization started from. I guessed earlier that the dip fault was in this direction. It actually is. So I totally forgot about this map. So let's go back up to here again, this map. So yes, in fact, it is dipping in this direction. So, this could be the dip extension of that fault could help the targeting of the big powerful system that sits underneath it. And this multitude of zones along here, all parallel, all striking in the same direction, significant amounts of them. Everything is pointing towards a very big, powerful, long-lived, high-grade gold mineralizing system. If you're at the top of the system and you're getting these kind of grades, As you get closer to the heat engine, you have the chance of seeing even higher grades. And so, from an exploration perspective, looking for new or high grade material and the source, this is a spectacular exploration project, exploration target. Now, again, they're targeting what they want to, what they'd like to mine over the next couple of years. But boy, would it be exciting to see some angled holes go down and cut through. I mean, you could even come in with fairly steep holes here and catch a bunch of those. You don't necessarily have to back way up here and get them across here like this, but I would think that very quickly, if you started to see pinching, swelling, the veins coming together, higher grade as you get deeper, that this would be the kind of thing that would really catch the attention of gold stock investors that are pretty much ignoring McEwen Mining's gold prospects now. So again, there's that fault dip direction. And the Black Fox horizon, I think you see that, I believe that's this horizon here. Yeah. And so you've got some geophysics here. I mean, the geophysics, they're helpful. They can be helpful. But when you see that many veins, that many zones, all striking parallel and all dipping in the same direction, it's a matter of getting the truth machine down there to follow those deeper. And when I explain that, it kind of reminds me of, what was transformative for Goldcorp. That's what they did. They followed the zones deeper. And when they got into that deeper horizon, it was magical. The grades were off the charts. It was low, even though you were down 1,000 meters and beyond. And it was spectacular. Oh, here's an interesting map as well. Here's the Dester Porcupine Fault. So right beside, here's your secondary faults, your A1, and then you've got this is your big regional crustal fault that goes down really deep. So again, here there's lots of evidence that something tremendous is happening down deeper into this system that really, as an exploration guy, gets me super excited. I'd love to see them get some holes down into here, cutting across those veins, and basically trying to understand this entire system. Because again, to have that many zones all striking in the same direction, all dipping in the same direction, series of stacked zones. As an exploration guy, this is like a dream come true kind of project to want to drill. So again, when I'm talking about exploration drilling, I mean, McEwen Mining produces about 150,000 ounces a year. They're a mining company, gold mining company. But look at how even in a gold mining company, how crucial gold exploration drilling can be. It could be a major breakthrough for the company to unlock shareholder value. And Rob McEwen's done it before, and I think he's got the canvas here to create another Goldcorp painting. And so there you go, folks. I wanted to get into what another one of the companies that I'm starting to do these deeper dives into the individual companies and looking at their projects from an exploration perspective And this project that Gray Fox and the Fox area is quite spectacular. And who knows, with the right kind of drill holes, it could revitalize the gold side of the McEwen Mining story. Basically, I think that the company is underappreciated for their copper, and they're getting zero love for their gold mining and their gold exploration potential. So, yeah, that's the McEwen Mining perspective from Allan, based on what I think is important, or what's exciting about the drilling potential at this project. So, on that note, do your homework, speak with your financial advisors, have a great day, and we will talk to you soon.